Hello and welcome to episode 86 of Stitched in Sweden. I'm Maria and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Stitched in Sweden. This week I thought I would come by and share with you some sewing projects that I've finished recently and a couple of knitting projects that I'm working on, as well as a little bit of fabric that I got recently to make some more clothes for Eloise. So, I hope you are all well. We are still in our apartment basically for the last 2.5 weeks. And yeah, we will continue like that for a bit longer. She's not totally asleep yet. I think last time I spoke to you, I had just started or maybe knit some of the Along the Garden Path socks, which is a pattern from Olivia Villarreal, I think Villarreal, of This Handmade Life. And I finished the first sock. This is a really, it looks like a really squishy sock, and it is, and I think it looks extra squishy because of the garter stitch, which I really like in combination with the cables. And I have knit the first one, and then I'm working on the cuff of the second one. So I am knitting these in Dandelion Yarns, which is a Swedish yarn dyer, in her Katie Fingering. It's a, you can see part of the label there. It's a organic merino yarn, 75% organic merino, 25% nylon. And I had two 50-gram skeins of that. So it's perfect for the socks because they were just slightly different in dye lot. So it's good that they're two separate things, so you won't notice the difference as much. I'm really enjoying working on those. They're really easy to pick up and put down. With the way the pattern works, you can quickly see where you left off. So that's a good kind of project for me to have sort of on the side, and that I can just pick up when I need something to occupy my hands for a little bit. The other project that I'm knitting, I cast on just this weekend. So I think this is 2 days of knitting, and it looks kind of like a toilet seat right now, I think. But this is the Stockholm sweater, which is a pattern from PETEIT Knit, and this is the neck hole. I'm just about to connect to start knitting in the round again after working, this top part flat. I'll give you a close-up of the yarn. I'm knitting this in Stress Knits yarn in her DK. It's the birch color. Here's the tag for it. Stress Knits DK in birch. And this is the second time working with Stacy's yarn. I really like her colors, and the yarn is super soft. I have 5 skeins of this. Okay, we're gonna do this standing up. So I have 5 skeins of the Stress Knits in the birch color, and this is the second time that I've knit with this yarn from Stacy. I knit my still needing to be written up shawl design in her DK yarn in the Palm Lines color, and I really like that perfect light pink color. This one is the Stockholm sweater, as I said. The original pattern is knit with two strands of mohair held double, or with mohair held double. But for me, the gauge is a DK weight on a 4mm or US 6 needle, so it will be a bit of a different sweater because obviously it's not going to have the light fluffy quality of the fabric that you would get from 2 skeins of mohair, but yeah, this is the yarn that I wanted to do it in. So I was originally going to use this yarn for the Morgan cardigan and hold that double with some mohair, but then I decided it was just going to be too hot, and yeah, I wanted to cast this on instead. So this is a really pretty basic pullover. It's going to have a ribbed neckband that's folded over, and then it has quite a deep ribbing on the hem and then ribbing on the sleeves too. It has sort of a dropped shoulder look, and yeah, it's going really fast so far. I think that I often knit with fingering weight yarn, so anytime that I knit with heavier weight, I'm always surprised by how fast it goes, but I shouldn't really be that surprised. But like the socks that I'm working on, I'm knitting them on 2mm needles, so it makes a big difference to be using DK weight on 4mm. Yeah. So what else did I work on? I worked a little bit on the cardigan from Tin Can Knits that I'm doing with the colorwork stripes, but I think I maybe only added a stripe or something, but I sewed in a lot of the ends. So the last stripe to add was this bright neon one. So I think maybe I already showed you that one. I haven't picked this up lately, but I'm really close to needing to connect the shoulders and then pick up for the sleeves. That one's just kind of been a little bit on hold. I did a lot of sewing in the last week. That was something that I was just really inspired by, and because I was having a little bit of a knitting lull, I just sort of took the sewing bug and went with it. I mostly sew, well yeah, I sew after Eloise has gone to bed for the evening. She sleeps in her crib at night very well, but during the day, 90% of her naps are right here. So that means I can't sew on my machines because they're too loud. And today I can't even sit down apparently. So I think I showed you this last time. I was working on this little dress, which is the autumn dress pattern from Lowland Kids. I just needed to put on the buttons, which I now have done, and I'm super happy with how this turned out. I think the binding looks really nice. I use a twin needle with my regular sewing machine, and I put this kind of, I think it's called woolly thread. I have it right here. I don't really know. It's called Aeroflock. Yeah, I don't really know. But it's kind of this, like, I don't know if you can see that. It's a bit gauzy, kind of fluffy. And I use this thread in my bobbin when I'm doing the twin needle finishing with the twin needle, and so I use that thread in the bobbin, and that works really well. I think it just helps keep the tension more even, and I don't know, it was just suggested to me by the people who sold me the binder foot, which I use sometimes, but I haven't been using lately. They had that thread in their bobbin thread, and yeah, I've been using it ever since for that, and it works really well. So another project that I finished from Lowland Kids is the JUDE romper. This is a this is size 3 to 6 months, so I'm hoping that she'll be able to wear this spring. That's why I made it short sleeved. And yeah, I did the version that has the buttons all the way down, and I actually did it with snaps, and I have some copper snaps, which I just think are pretty cool. I don't know if you can tell that they're copper, but they are. And this fabric is from TYGDROMMAR, which is where I get a lot of fabric for kids' clothes like this. I think the cuff detail for the sleeves is pretty cute. You can, it tells you to tack it up with just like some stitches there, but I actually just cuffed it, just folded it, but I will probably always have it folded up. I had this, the fabric for this one cut out for a while before for longer before I sewed it, because I was sort of expecting it to be complicated for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It sewed up super quick, and yeah, she hasn't worn it yet because, first of all, I think it's probably just a tad bit too big. She is 3 months and 1 week today, and she's still fitting in, she's just fitting into 0 to 3 month sizes for the most part still. So, but also I haven't put her in this yet because it's short sleeved. It's still just a bit chilly to have that, to have her arms exposed like that. But this also has a really nice finish on the binding. You can see there with the twin needle how that looks, and this is how it looks on the inside with the woolly thread there in the bobbin, and you can see a little bit of my serged edge as well. But I think it just makes a really nice finish. On this one I also did some top stitching right next to the placket here, and this is fully interfaced in the placket so that the snaps are nicely reinforced. You can see the inside there, some more serged edges. Yeah, so I don't know why I thought this was going to take a while. It was really fast, and I don't know. I'm planning on doing another one in a nice wine red color that I'll do probably, I'll probably still do the full button. You can also do just a Henley button placket like this dress has just to here. And it also comes with a hood option. So I think for the wine red, I'll do it for the 9 to 12 month size. So it will be for the fall, winter. It will have a hood, long sleeves, and possibly the full placket, the full buttons. We'll see. I haven't cut the fabric for that. I go back and forth between wanting to sew one pattern in multiple sizes, or if I should just sew the same size in different patterns. Yeah, like it's practical to have some things sewn up already in larger sizes, but at the same time it's fun to sew things and have her be able to wear them directly. And also then I might not get into this situation where I have also made the autumn dress from Lowland Kids in this short-sleeved version, and I use snaps instead of buttons on this one. This fabric is also from TYGDROMMAR, and originally when I bought this sewing pattern, I thought, okay, I'm not gonna make it in any of the smaller sizes. I should wait to make it in sizes that, for like when she's walking or standing at least, so that, yeah, no, more like for when she's actually walking, because I figured a dress is not gonna be very practical for crawling. But then I had a brain fart and forgot about that, and then have now sewn it in 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and 9 to 12. I haven't sewn up the 9 to 12, but I have everything cut out. So that was kind of not the smartest. So that's also why maybe it makes more sense to sew things in the size that she is at the moment, so that I know what's practical at that time and what we're using most. For example, right now she is wearing some leggings. These are the Brindille and Twig kind of standard leggings pattern. I think it's number 22 maybe. They have just a regular finish on the hem, like a folded over finish, not a cuff. And they also have an elastic waistband. These are pretty much part of her kind of standard everyday outfit, where she wears leggings and a onesie. Right now she's wearing a cream colored ribbed onesie, and I don't know if you can see the texture, the texture of that fabric, but it is a 2x2 rib knit from STOFF and STIL. I had originally got it for using as cuffs and kind of neckbands binding, but I really like it in the onesie. This is the baby snap suit, also from Lowland Kids. Everything I've sewn this week is from them. Here is another version of it that I made at the same time. So I sewed these two onesies concurrently because they both needed basically the same color thread. Even though this one's white and this one's cream, I used a creamy white thread and it worked for both, so that I could kind of assembly line sew them. And I finished both of them in 2 hours. So they go really quick. And this one has a folded cuff, folded hem with the twin needle finish. And that's what it looks on the inside. I really like this fabric. Has little eyelet details. And so this one doesn't have the snaps on it yet, so she hasn't worn this one. But it's this kind of fold over style, and the thing that's different about this baby snap suit compared to the Brindille and Twig version of the kind of fold over body style, this one has a little bit less bulk in the front. Like the fabric pieces don't go, there's not as much fabric that's in the overlapped part, and it also has a little bit of a V-neck compared to the other one, which is a bit higher. So just a little bit of stylistic differences, and I think this one is a nice kind of lighter weight jersey fabric, and it has little eyelet holes, so this will be perfect for spring. I'm waiting to get some smaller snaps in the mail. I think that the size snaps that I've been using, I think these are a size 15. I'm not positive how snap sizing works. But these are they're perfect for this kind of project, but for onesies where you're putting the snaps on the binding edge, the big snaps don't quite fit very well, and then I'm always worried when I'm pulling them apart that it's going to, it feels like it creates a weak spot in the fabric. So one of the things that I really liked actually about this onesie pattern compared to the Brindille and Twig ones that I've already sewn is that this one actually instructs you to sew a little reinforced area at the crotch snap part. Really simple to do, and I probably will now do that on my other patterns, but it just has some small details like that that I think make it really nice. And the other difference, I think, is that this is a raglan sleeve and the other one is a set-in sleeve, in case you're looking at the two. But I have both of them, so yeah, I still will sew both of them, I think. I'm still planning on continuing to sew up some more things. I got a few other fabrics in this week. This kind of light sage green, which pairs really nicely with this cute sort of Easter fabric. It has little bunnies on it. We're not going anywhere for Easter, so it doesn't really matter, but I thought those were cute. And this is also from the same kind of line as these ones. And all of these are from TYGDROMMAR. So we'll see what I make with those. I am planning on making a couple of... Thomas is here. I'm planning on making a couple of drool bibs with the leftover fabrics that I have from all these projects, because I think that it will just take up a tiny bit of fabric. Probably doesn't really matter if it's on the grain or not, so I can just use up some scraps. And she has really started to drool a lot lately, so we've been going through the 3 bibs that we have quite quickly. So I think that will be a good kind of scrap buster and just, yeah, a simple, useful project to do. I'm just kind of looking around at my desk area here in my yarn cabinet to see what else I have. It seems like a short episode this week, but I thought I'd just come and give you an update. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same as last week. We have been going for walks during the day in a community garden nearby where there's very few people walking around, so we can stay distanced from everyone, and it's a better option for us than walking around the lake that's nearby our house, because everyone seems to think that, oh, it's a good time to go walk around the lake, but that means it's hard to keep your distance from other people. So we often have gone in the middle of the day around lunch to take a little walk, get some fresh air, but for the most part we are staying in our apartment. Thomas goes to the grocery store once a week or so, and we try to limit it to that. I've been tending to my plants. You can see my large monstera there got replanted last week, I think. Maybe I already talked about this, I think I did. Anyway, it also got moved back to its original position there where we had our Christmas tree, so that's why it was moved, and then, I don't know, things just got moved around a little bit. But all of my plants are now repotted, and it looks like my rosemary and lavender survived the winter. They're also repotted and happily sitting out on our balcony. We put out the floor of our balcony. We have these wood kind of plate things. I don't know how to describe them, but it makes kind of like a wooden deck out there. And we put those out this weekend, and our chairs. So maybe, fingers crossed, we'll be able to enjoy some of the evening sun now that we have changed the clocks this past weekend. And it's a lot lighter in the evening, but this morning we woke up to some snow, which was kind of random because now it is very sunny and blue sky again. So we will see. yeah, other than that, I've been doing some baking, making bread. I think it's, for the most part, we have still a lot of stock and supplies in our grocery stores. We have had moments where the toilet paper is out, but there's still plenty in general. But one of the things that is almost always missing is flour, because apparently everyone has decided now that they are bakers. So I'm having a hard time getting my regular supply of flour that I use for sourdough and pizza. I usually make, I always make pizza dough, but since I've been on maternity leave, again, I have restarted making sourdough, but it was not in connection to the corona pandemic. But yeah, sidetrack. It just seems like everybody wants flour, so we are having a hard time getting that back in our house, but we got some today, and I'm going to try a sourdough pizza recipe for the first time. I get my recipes for the sourdough bread and kind of the instructions of what to do from the Perfect Loaf, which is a blog all about bread, and it's very intense, I think, but I'm really happy with the loaf of bread I'm getting, and I sort of halfway follow the instructions, but they also have a pizza dough recipe there using sourdough, so I'm gonna try that this week and we'll see how it goes. I finished the macrame that I was working on last week, and yeah, put a new pot in it. That's about it, I think. So until next time, I hope you are all staying well and that your making is bringing you some comfort. So I will see you next time. Bye.